Hi, everyone, and welcome to Words with DatOneLady.
Hi, everyone. Welcome again to today's episode of the podcast. And today we have another guest in the house. Hi, guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Damola. I work as a civil servant in Nigeria and also trying to learn data science. So yeah, I'm a confused person. So, yeah.
Aren't we all confused to an extent? Like, all of us have issues that we're trying to get through. And with Damola's introduction leads us to our conversation for today on the podcast. So, yeah, guys, today we're going to be talking about adulting. Adulting is like one of those words that we hear a lot, every time for me, I think about it as like moving from being a child to, being responsible. And trust me, a lot of us worry about adulting. We don't even know at what point we're supposed to adult. And in this episode, I and Amala are just gonna, run through it and just dig through what exactly is adulting, what exactly do they mean when they're saying you have to adult and all that good stuff. Yeah, we don't know so much, but we'll do our best to just say what we know so far. So Damla, what exactly comes to mind when you hear the word adulting?
I have like many things that come to mind. Firstly, the adulting is a scam. Then also the adulting sounds like plenty responsibilities and all. Those two things are like the major things I think about.
Sincerely, I think it's a word of I think everybody says the same thing that adulting is a scam, and if every other
Yes, you probably not have grown up.
no, to all the kids out there, remain kids. But the truth is, when we
Yeah,
talk about adulting, it's like more of moving from being a child to being that word adulthood. It says childhood and there's adulting or adulthood. Yeah,
yeah, but it is. But there are like many things involved because you don't just go from being a child to being an adult without doing stuff now. So you have to be responsible. And then sometimes you just want to be, irresponsible. Just go home and let people take care of you. But apparently, you can't always have what you want to be an adult.
I know, right? So, like, right in front of me is a quote that I found that's very funny, and I want to just say it out. It says, that horrifying moment when you're looking for an adult and you realize that you're an adult. So you start looking for an adulter adult.
Exactly.
That's the same thing the mother said. It's talking about like the fact that sometimes you think about it and you're like, oh my God, there's so much to do, there's so much responsibility that comes with. And the truth is, when you hear the word adult, then the first thing that comes to some of us head is responsibility.
Bills.
True, so true, bills. But really, does adulting have to do with bills only, or does it have to? Do we need to have that part of bills as a thing?
You know, like I thought of a scenario this afternoon. So I was saying, if if as a child, if you maybe break a plate or something at home, they will probably scold you and like ask you why you did that. But when you grow up and you break a plate, nobody scolds you, but you eventually have to buy the plate. So it is the responsibility is just there, and there's always money, or there must always be money. Although of course, like money is not everything, but money is like a very major part of being an adult. Yeah.
Now, piggybacking on what you just said concerning that whole analogy on breaking plate, that's so true. Like when we're children, our parents never made us take responsibility of things that we did wrong. They rather scold us and tell us, oh, that thing you did was bad. But imagine if they said, oh, when we break a plate or do something wrong back home, they're like, oh, you see that money for tomorrow, you're not going to get it. So you take it upon yourself
Just
that
like
you.
now that we are in the middle of, is it a recession, at least in Nigeria, then the whole COVID thing. If we were kids, or if I was a kid, like maybe at this moment I'm like just a small child, like 5, 6 or something. I won't really understand what this whole story is about. I'll still stay home. I'll still expect to be fed properly, like at
Mm,
least 3 times. But now, as an adult, you know that once the money in your wallet starts reducing, your stomach will have to start adjusting, that kind of thing. So it's so much many things.
that's so true. Do you think we get the training, the the tools that we need to be adults? Do you think we get enough of those tools, or do you think we're just thrown into adulting?
No, I think over time, if someone was been properly brought up, you find out that even if you were not told exactly what you should do, but you find out that you when you start growing up, you just automatically find out automatically understand what you have been taught and how it affects your life going forward.
Mm. So
Yeah.
you're trying to say that like growing up is like it's a piece of the puzzle. Like all the things that happen in your life growing up is a piece of the puzzle to you being able to get responsible for things in your life in the future, basically.
Yeah, like according to a quote that Steve Jobs said, like about how things make sense backward. It's just so when we are growing up, there are things that we were taught when we were small, but we didn't really understand the use or anything. But when we grow up, when we look back, we'll be able to piece together the different pieces and know, yeah, so this is what this was for now. So if someone was properly brought up, the person was definitely or most likely going to be able to adjust properly.
Oh, that's so true. That's actually very true. And I really like your insight on the fact that it's growing up is like going back, but it's like getting the ideas that you need to from when you were younger to then be implemented when you're like much older. Then what happens to those who do not have families where they're able to get all these tools that we're talking about or all this training being brought up properly? How do they then like brace this part of life of adulting?
Well, I think it is not just the family that affects or that teaches you what you need to do, like that gives you the skills that you need to be a proper adult. The church is there, your community, then your peer group, your peer group. That's what they call them now. Like
Hmm.
people that you roll with. So
Yeah.
it's like everything. So at times it's possible to have someone that is from a dysfunctional family but still grows up to be a responsible person. So it's not just the family, but it is most times like the most influential is it person or influential group in a person's life that really determines how well they grow up.
So then I guess it's right to then say that it takes a village to raise a child. So therefore, the family
That
is
was
just
before.
really it's not the
Yes,
same.
that was before because like okay, just the village thing in the sense that before it was more of a communal thing, but now even parents don't want to leave their children to go out and mix with
Mm,
people around because of they are
yeah,
scared of them getting different ideologies from what they have
yeah.
been taught at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that village thing still works, sha, but yeah, that, that's how
Yeah.
it's meant to be. But I'm not sure.
No, I actually said that based on the fact that you said they're friends. There's a church. There's mentors.
Okay. Yeah. It makes more sense. I thought you meant like village, like the old communal living thing.
No, no, that's to be sincere.
Yeah,
When you hear that phrase, like it takes a village to raise a child, you think about like the
yeah.
communal community of the person where they live, their surrounding. But like I think at this point in time, it's way more than that. It's more of the friends. Who do they surround themselves with? Who what church do they attend? They get things
What
and
social
like
media do they use for?
exactly what are they exposed to? Who are they with? Who are they around? That makes up the adulting stage of life. Anyway, we've talked about like moving from being a child to being an adult.
Yeah.
Another question that I'll have for you is, do you really think that adulting is a phase or is it forever?
So I think once you become an adult till you die. It's just like you just go from childhood to adult, then you just continue going from new adult to experienced adult to old adult, and so
I
they're
like
just an adult forever.
I like that classification. New adult, experienced adults, and old adults. So like I feel like so we are in like the new adults, right?
Well, it depends on what you mean by new adult because me, I feel like I'm experiencing or I'm an experienced adult though because I I don't know. I just recently joined this whole adulthood thing, bro. Man, I feel like I have enough experiences to fit inside my jetpack. Tired.
Mm. Aren't we all? I feel like at some point in life, we all get tired of this whole world of adulting because it just feels like there's so much to do and there's so much responsibility that you never get away from it. Like it never stops, it keeps going. So it's like, at what point even become an experienced adult? Like, at what point? Is it when you've experienced a lot in life or you feel like, oh my God, what else is life going to throw at me?
I don't know. I think it is. at the point when probably when you get your paycheck and you start thinking of other people that you know that yeah,
Mm.
really an experience outdoor because initially like when I just got out of school, my first job, yes, I was thinking of other people, but we were mostly thinking of how to blow the money. But now, for now, take when I get my salary, I just okay, I'm sending this one here. I'm like, oh man, wow, no money for yourself, but it's fine because you know that you will survive. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, so that's for me. I just experience. It's
You
just
know, I think I agree with that. When you say when you start adulting is when you're not responsible for yourself. You have your own job. You stepped up, or you have something that's bringing money into your pocket, and you stepped up from requesting from home or depending on somebody from home. Then when you become experienced is when you get that money you get from work, and then you don't think about just yourself. You think about a bunch of people. You think about your family. You think about other people. You think about things you have to do for yourself. I think I agree with you when you say that's been an experienced adult. They've been an old adult, so then be what?
I don't know. I think when you're an old adult and you're eating the fruit of your labor because
Ah,
because I don't know really. I
no,
don't know.
no, seriously, this is actually life coming in full circle. So it's like you go from being a child under your parents to being the parents with having a child under you or having some people under you, looking up to you and even if it's not a child, like somebody you're taking care of or catering for. So yeah, it's like a whole full circle kind of
No,
like.
but you know that like when I said that eating the fruit of your labor, I really don't think or I really didn't mean that probably maybe getting stuff from probably your kids or something. Like
Mhm.
if someone is probably like 40, 50, and even if he has kids that he's still catering for, but he has enough at least cash to do that without stressing. He has like he's comfortable enough, and it doesn't really have to like normal this struggle, this normal hustle that we are hustling and busting. Doesn't have to go through all that. He has like his life figured out and he's doing what he wants to do. Probably owns his own company. I think this is an old order.
Mhm.
I think so. I
Oh,
think so.
awesome. Oh, that's actually very good to think about. Like when you look at it and you begin to review how you move from one stage to another, and you move from thinking about others to reap all the things that you have, all the work that you've put into your
Exactly. All the
own
sacrifices you
income.
made.
Yeah. So that's a very and think about it. Hey guys, if you're listening, like this, it never ends. Like that's what Damola has tried to tell us. It never ends, and I also agree. Adulting is like a whole process. And the thing is, you can never figure it out on the spot. Like getting into adulthood or being an adult or adulting, you never figure it out in the spot. Like you keep learning on the go, you learn on the job. It just keep going, and at some point, you'll be able to, become the experienced adults, and hopefully be able to claim being an old adult because this life is so much work. At what point do we get to rest from being an adult? And please don't tell me when you're dead.
No, we rest when we are dead now. Even this our complaints about adulthood being very hard on others. Nobody wants to go back to being a child. Even though it's hard to be an adult, but nobody wants to go back to being a child.
I don't. I beg to differ. I don't know. We can't really say. I don't think I want to go back to
Like
being.
go back to being a child, like to have all your decisions made for you.
Well, okay, you have a point there. Nobody wants that anymore. I believe.
Exactly.
Hopefully, yeah, but it's pretty interesting how we actually go through all those processes. And from what we've talked about, childhood is at that point where you've been made decision for, and everything is brought to you at your beck and call. And when you get to being an adult, you then make decisions, then even make decisions for other people. And hopefully you're able to have gotten like the tools that you need and all the things that you need to be an adult when you were growing up, and you're able to put all the pieces together and piece it up together and be able to, make the best of your adulthood and make the best of you being an adult. The truth is, it never gets easy. Am I lying?
No, it does get easier actually. I
But at
beg
what
you.
point?
It's not like it is easy like you just coast through it, but you get to like after a while when you have many experiences, then you start to get relaxed about something. So let me give you an example, right? So when I left the bank job and I had my laundry, there were times when I was dead broke. Like dead broke, like no money and everything. So now today, if I'm dead broke, I'm not really concerned because I know that I have been there before. I come out of it, that kind of thing. So just that it's just for a while and it just it fades. So it's the same way it helps. Like as we keep on growing older and we have experiences, we learn how to be calm about some situations, knowing that okay, this one will definitely pass. You just need to do this and to pass. So you don't stress about that thing. So for that moment, it gets easier.
That's so interesting. Like going back to that, what you just said, it does get easier, like Damola said, because you've experienced a few things, because you have been there before. When it happens again, you know you now have the fortitude to get through what the process is, to get through whatever situation is. You won't panic as much as you panicked the first time it happened to you. That's so true. I agree on that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Do you have any other thing that you want to, share with the listeners today and let them know, or something that would help them through their process of adulting? Maybe there's one 19-year-old or 18-year-old listening that is like, I can't wait, to be on my own. What's your advice? What are I going to tell them?
Mm. Uh, we are in the same boat. We are just adulting. We don't know what we are doing. But really, just really, I think my own piece of advice would be just relax and take things easy. You should learn along the way because there are many things that you encounter that you've not encountered before. So just take your time, and it is okay to fail. Rather, just fail. So far, you don't stay there. Once you fail, just know okay, this is why I failed, and this is what I need to do better. And that just keep on going. Really, that's the whole adulting thing. Just keep on going. One day
Mm,
you figure it out, and then you figure it out to a point where you can go forward. Not like you figure everything out, but you figure enough out so you can make better decisions and just keep on going. Basically.
that's so true. Like, and that's so, like you've listed a couple of salient points there. Even adults don't know what they're doing. We're all figuring it out going forward. We are all faced with different challenges day by day. And we're like, yes, when the challenges come, we walk through it. So if you're 18, 19, 16, 22, 23, 20, whatever age you are, we're all the same
If you are
people.
16, you just relax. You're not yet an adult. You just relax.
He's like, if you're 16, just chill, just keep enjoying mommy and daddy's food and their help. Just don't bother yourself. But the truth is, we're all figuring it out. Nobody knows it all. Even our parents are, walking through the process. But their experiences in life is helping them deal with things better than we might deal with things. That's just the only
Exactly.
difference. So just keep calm, take it easy, take it a day at a time. You will figure it out as you go along. It's okay to fail, like Damola said. Failure is part of life. It's like a surging stone, like a stepping stone to greatness at some points. Maybe not every time, but it does help you, open your eyes to new opportunities, new things, new ways to get things done. So yeah, it's totally okay. You'll be fine. Adulting, they say, is a scam, but it's a way of life. It's part of life. You cannot escape it.
It's a scam, sure. I totally subscribe to the
For
scam part.
sure, I
But
agree to that. It's a scam, but the truth is, it never. It's not something that you can just jump over. Like you say, okay, I'm not, because it's a scam, I'm going to bypass it. But it's not possible that you bypass it.
no,
It's always gonna be
they're
there.
just two faces. You're either a child or an adult. So there's really no
There's no,
jumping over anything.
yeah, there's no middle ground, and that's so important and interesting to know. So I don't know. Like I hope someone was able to understand that. See, it will happen. It would be a part of your life, but just breathe and take it a day at a time. You're gonna be okay. Any other last words, Damola, before we close up the episode?
Last words. No, I've said my last word.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening to today's episode of the podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. Remember, you can always share this episode to your friends and families, and your friends and followers on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or whatever social media page that you use. If you enjoyed this episode, please do well to follow the podcast on whatever app you're listening to right now, so that you can get a notification when I upload a new episode. Don't forget, you can also follow the podcast on Instagram at DatOneLady, which is DatOneLady. If you have any questions or suggestions for an episode, please send me an email at thatonelady@gmail.com, which also is DatOneLady@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening once again. Until next time, remember to keep living, keep loving, and ensure you're living your truth. Have a great day, guys, and bye.